Welcome back, guys, for another lovely episode of No Huddle. My name is Caleb Davis. I know I'm back for 2 weeks in a row. What are we going to do? Welcome, as always, this week, Mr. James Lillquist. James, how we doing this weekend?
We're doing orange-tastic, baby. We're doing orange on orange.
Orange
Yo,
everything,
dog,
huh?
Yo, dog. I heard you know that I like orange. So instead, we're gonna do Orange Bowl with orange with other orange teams in oranging.
Well, the only thing that would make that better is if Clemson and Tennessee both wore their orange uniforms.
Oh God, on an orange field in an orange grove.
Right. You know what? Screw Boise State's blue field. Let's do an orange field.
It's gonna be gonna hurt so many people's eyes.
Before we get into this, two things. I went back and listened to last week's show to pick up a few notes, and I picked up two things. One, I'm wearing the exact same shirt that I wore last Sunday. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, I went back and I calculated our picks.
Okay.
James, how many conference championship games do you think that you predicted correctly?
Oh God, that's gonna be a low number. I bet we're gonna say 4.
Would you be surprised if I told you we were both over 500?
I don't believe you. Not the way our preseason picks went.
You were 6-4.
Okay.
We both picked UCF to win the AAC title because we weren't sure what was happening with Willie Fritz, and Willie Fritz ends up staying at Tulane. You picked TCU to win the Big 12 championship.
Swing and a miss.
You picked Ohio to win the MAC.
Swing and a miss.
And you picked Boise State to win the Mountain West.
And a swing and a miss.
I went 7-3.
Oh.
I also picked UCF to win the AAC. I picked USC to win the Pac-12. I picked Coastal Carolina to win the Sun Belt, and clearly that didn't go very well.
But the quality of your losses were so good.
Right. Right. All right, Alabama. Chill out over there.
Your wins.
James, would you like to talk about the conference championship games, or would you like to start with the playoff selection?
Oh, no. Let's actually talk about the games played on the field.
Okay. Well, the first game we are going to talk about is the Pac-12 championship game. For those of y'all that lived under a rock, Utah beat USC 47-24. The one thing that stuck out to me is USC went up 17-3 and got outscored 44-7 the rest of the game. Now, for those of us that watched, we know that Caleb Williams got hurt. But I have talked to you guys about Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch and their inability to play defense. That did come back and bite them on top of Caleb Williams being hurt. Utah had 533 yards of offense, 310 through the air, 223 on the ground, and they rushed it at 6.4 yards per carry.
Okay, so when you run for over 200 yards in offense, and I don't care if it is in the Pac-12, that's A, really good. B, that's going to win you a lot of football games.
Absolutely.
And especially, and also, like, I know people are hating on Caleb Williams for not playing well in this game because they got hurt. I'm going to say this right now. I still think he's the Heisman front runner because it just
agree with you.
How important he is to that team, because that team was bad.
I don't understand people saying that Caleb Williams should not win the Heisman. 28 for 41. Okay, the completion percentage is not that great.
Yes.
But 363 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he had the 1 interception.
And now look, I'm going to be and I want to be completely biased here because I mean that gives my man a chance to get back into it. But I still think Caleb Williams is one of the most valuable players on his team.
Absolutely agree. I said it. We were talking earlier. I think we were talking about 3 days ago. If Caleb Williams was draft eligible this year, I think the only quarterback I take over him is Bryce Young.
I could agree with that only because I think Bryce Young wins football games. I think he's the ultimate competitor, and
I agree.
And it shows that, I mean, yes, did Tua have a bad game today, but smaller quarterbacks are succeeding in the NFL.
Absolutely. You no longer have to be 6'5", 230 to be a quarterback.
We'll be getting to the transfer portal news here shortly.
We will.
We're talking about football games first, though.
So what was your takeaway? Because my exact thought, and I said it last week, was I don't trust Alex Grinch in a Lincoln Riley-led defense, and that's exactly what happened. Caleb Williams got hurt with that hamstring, became immobile, and no longer could be elusive and affect the game.
And it cost them the game, and it ultimately, spoiler alert, cost them a chance to be in the playoffs because without him being at 100%, that team is bad.
I agree. This is the exact team we saw last year. They're just wearing USC jerseys instead of Oklahoma jerseys.
I don't even think they're more. It's Oklahoma. Just they look like Clay Helton's USC team without Caleb Williams on there.
I don't necessarily agree. I think this is the same Lincoln Riley team we saw last year. He literally brought his quarterback and his whole staff over to USC.
He did not bring his offensive line, and he did not bring his running back.
Well, this is exactly what I expected from a Lincoln Riley-led defense. This is why when people ask me what team worries you, well, USC worried me in the playoffs because I know what Caleb Williams can do. Yeah. But we have also seen their shortcomings on defense.
Yes. But that's with Lincoln Riley in general. He's always had that issue. So this isn't brand new. We're not breaking new ground here.
Yeah. So was there you picked Utah.
I did.
Did you see anything that surprised you in this game?
What surprised me was that Utah played better than they did at home. I felt like that traveled way better.
That's true. Cam Rising, 22 of 34, 310, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Cam Rising did not turn the ball over.
He played the exact game he needed to play. He's not going to be a guy that goes out and wins you the game, but he's going to go out there and compete.
I wasn't sure how I thought Cam Rising was going to do because we've talked about how he has some issues. But he played better in Vegas than he played in Salt Lake City.
I'll give him this. He is he's one of them tough, SOBs, if you know what I'm saying. What?
I'm not sure that I agree that it was targeting. But that was a hit.
Oh, it was a shot.
Targeting or not, that was a lick that linebacker put on Cam Rising. So the fact that he was able to get up, he walked off with his head he got up like it was just a normal tackle. So I was impressed by his toughness. So I think it surprised me. His toughness and his willingness to stay in the pocket and throw the ball.
I never doubted his toughness. I just knew that it just shows how much of a competitor he is.
Absolutely.
And it was a great win for Utah.
It was. Congratulations. Back-to-back years.
Back-to-back.
Winning the Pac-12 championship for the Utah Utes.
I was listening to this. You know how long Utah's been in the Pac-12?
2011?
2012. They've been in for 10 years.
That's crazy.
So has TCU been in the Big 12.
Yeah, because that all happened at the same time.
It all happened at the same time.
Colorado moved to the Big 12, to the Pac-12 at the same time.
And we'll talk about them. They made a little bit of news today.
Missouri and A&M moved to the SEC at the same time. That was kind of that second round. No, that was the first round.
That was the first wave, yes.
Because then, that dissolved the WAC. The WAC dissolved in that time.
It dissolved the WAC. It also dissolved the Big 12 as we knew it, because then also Nebraska moving over to the Big 10 and Rutgers moving from the Big East to the Big 10.
Yes. And then Maryland moved from the ACC
to the Big 10.
And then Louisville went to the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
The next game that I would like to talk about, I just want to touch on this. Buffalo. They rescheduled the Buffalo-Akron game. They got snowed out the weekend 2 weekends ago.
2 or 3 weekends ago, yeah, when the entire stadium.
I was very impressed. At one point, Akron was up 15-0, and Buffalo came back and won 23-22. Buffalo's bowl eligible. They'll be going to a bowl game. On the note of bowl games, tune in tomorrow. We will have James and myself and a couple of other guests to live stream our bowl pick'ems. So y'all be watching out for that.
And we're going to be breaking down every single bowl game.
This might be a 5-hour show.
It might be. It depending on how crazy it gets.
It's probably going to stay way past my bedtime. Yep. I just want to touch on that. I like Buffalo's toughness, so I just want to kind of touch on that game. The next one, the UTSA Roadrunners defeat the North Texas Mean Green 48-27 to win. They're also back-to-back Conference USA champions.
Yes.
So clap it up for UTSA. I'm curious. I have two thoughts here. One, why has somebody gone after Jeff Traylor? I know he was mentioned last year in the coaching cycle, but I think he stayed because Frank Harris was coming back. And also, is Frank Harris going to stay at UTSA? Those are kind of my two thoughts. He had a big game, 32 for 37, 341, and 4 touchdowns.
I feel like he's probably one of the coaches that needs to stay in Texas and does not need to span out, not like some other coaches that
so when you say stay in Texas, do you mean like jump to – and I'm not saying Texas Tech is going to – but kind of go that route, Texas Tech, maybe move up kind of that way?
Yes, I think more that way than it would be
like – he was a high school coach in Texas before.
SMU, if ever SMU needs a job, Houston, any of those type of jobs come up.
And I feel like he would do really well at Houston. Houston's moving to the Big 12 next year.
Exactly.
So that would be a nice jump for him to a Power 5 job.
Exactly.
So I
also I see Dana Holgerson not being long for this world.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. So I didn't really watch much of this. I just kind of came up with the score. I know it was close.
I was only score watching this because there was that other game going on in Dallas.
Right. In Dallas. This was Friday night, honey. So
was it Friday night? Okay, never mind. I was having.
This was the Pac-12 championship game.
Okay, that Pac-12 game. Sorry, Las Vegas. My bad. I'm sorry. My brain.
Like I said, clap it up, UTSA, undefeated season in conference play.
Meet me again.
Back-to-back Conference USA championships. The next one is that game in Dallas we talked about. I told you last week I picked Kansas State to win this game. If you needed a game to watch early, this was your game.
Not only was it a great game, I still think TCU won that game. I feel like Max Duggar was across the goal line, and I thought that was a terrible call. And but give it to Kansas State and give it to Klein. Those guys were able to dust off that loss a couple of weeks ago and were able to avenge that. And I feel like, and also spoiler alert, I'm going to be pulling for them completely in New Orleans when they play that other team that we'll talk about later on. This wasn't the TCU offense that we're used to seeing. No.
And when I tell you 469 yards, you're like, oh, that's a lot, but that's not the TCU game. I feel like they worked really hard for 469 yards.
Oh, that was the hardest 460 yards I've ever seen a team play. And it was Max, the quarterback for TCU played his ass off.
He did, absolutely.
And I feel like it was for nothing. But you know what? And everyone was like, oh, TCU should fall. No, TCU shouldn't fall for that game.
We'll kind of get in more to this, when we talk about the playoffs and kind of our thoughts. I'll kind of dig into that a little more. Deuce Vaughn went off in this game.
Deuce Vaughn, I knew he had a Darren Sproles type.
He's a Darren Sproles clone.
He is. He's a shorter version of Darren Sproles, which is amazing to say. He is an inch shorter than Darren Sproles. And he went off.
He did. 130 rushing yards, and he also had 2 receptions for 30 yards.
And one of those was a 46-yard
to the
house call in the fourth quarter.
To put him up 11?
Yes, to put him up 11. Yes.
I think we talked about this last weekend. I feel like even with the loss here, TCU was in, and now I got some backlash in our group chat. And I think you and I kind of agreed that even with the loss, TCU was in. But
it's just only because of that other team. They didn't deserve it.
This was Sonny Dykes' first year at TCU.
Yeah.
And he brought over Garrett Riley, when he had him at SMU, which for those of y'all that don't know is Lincoln Riley's brother.
Yes.
So I'll be interested to see how much that offense progresses. They still need to play defense, which in the Big 12 we know is optional sometimes.
It is very much optional.
But again, I'm happy that Kansas State won this game. I did pick them to win. But this is kind of – I don't think the score is what I thought it was going to be. No. But I feel like it was as close as I thought it was going to be.
What really surprised me is that in overtime, that fourth down call, I think was very interesting.
To me, the call of the game, I think it was in the third quarter. Max Duggan had rolled out, and he went to throw the ball. It looks like the defender punched the ball out of his hand.
Yeah.
Recovered in the end zone for a safety. I felt like it was a safety. The referees felt differently, and that's honestly the opinion that matters. But to me, I feel like that was a turning point. Now, it didn't really matter because Kansas State 4 plays later scored.
Yeah.
But you give them 9 points instead of 7. You know, just the grittiness of TCU. They have won games now they didn't win this game, but they have won games in so many different ways this year.
The fact that they got that back to make it overtime.
Absolutely. This game, even at times when TCU would score and it would feel like a 4-point game, the lead always felt bigger than 4.
Absolutely.
And Kansas State always found a way to respond.
And this is why, and I know this is going to be good, but I feel like TCU is going to be a much tougher out for Michigan than they think it's going to be.
Absolutely.
I think Michigan did not want to see them.
I will touch on Michigan when we get to their game, but I have some thoughts on that. The other game that happened at this time, I also just kind of scoreboard watched. Toledo defeated Ohio to win the MAC.
Yeah. Dominated that game.
17-7 was the final. I know that Curtis Rourke didn't play for Ohio, so that probably didn't help. He's been out the last couple of weeks. They had 260 yards of offense, which if you score 7 points, that's about what I expect you to have.
Yes.
Toledo had 11 penalties in this game. And won the game.
Like I said they dominated the game, even though the score doesn't sound like it.
No, it doesn't. I was also working, so I didn't really get to catch this game.
I was doing a Christmas party, so I got to watch a little bit of the game.
But we love the MAC here.
Yep.
And if I'm not working, I probably would have had that game on also.
Well, you're the one. So, I was not watching the Buffalo Akron game other than the first beginning of it, and you're just yelling MAC the entire time.
Absolutely. I was actually cleaning up because we had Thanksgiving here tonight at the house. So I was cleaning up when I was like, oh, let's see what's on. And I pull up my ESPN and I'm like, am I missing something? What time do these games come on? And I happened to see that the Akron Buffalo game was on. It's like, oh yeah, let's watch that. So shout out to Toledo. I was listening to the College Game Day podcast, and they were talking about that Ohio has won their division. They have not won the conference since the 60s. So
but they still got some of the greatest uniforms ever, so at least they got that going for themselves.
It's crazy to think that the year after Frank Solis left could have been the year that they won the MAC. Just think about that for a minute. The next game that happened was going to go AAC or SEC.
Let's go SEC. Let's get that Sarah McLachlan special out of the way.
I admitted this. I know what the score was at halftime. I was not impressed by Georgia, their defense at all.
That game was over in the first quarter, sir. How are you saying that you guys absolutely blood splattered them?
I understand your point. LSU outgained Georgia by 20 yards, and Georgia had 529 yards of offense. Now, I understand that the score says we won by 20. I get that. Trust me.
It's not your fault that LSU special teams is the IQ of a potato.
So, what is your thought on that special teams play? Because some people
that was the ball game. It was ball game. As soon as I heard that happen, I was like,
you even texted me. I was in the middle of doing my stats homework.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Are you watching this?"
Yeah. I was listening to this on the radio. I was driving back from Chattanooga, and I heard that, and I'm just like, "Oh no, here we go." I knew as soon as that's happening, blood spattering is going to happen. There's going to be a crime scene in the Georgia Dome.
So 2 stats I'm going to give you from this game. 3 actually. Both LSU quarterbacks threw for over 200 yards. But when you're down by that much, you're going to throw the ball. Kendall Milton, which I've told you, I felt like Georgia's inability to run up the middle has hurt them at times. 8 rushes for 113 yards, 14.1 yards per carry.
Yeah.
And that Stetson Bennett guy that everybody seems to sleep on, which, to my own fault, I did it all last year.
Hey, that 25-year-old man knows how to run that offense.
I was the JT Daniels guy. 23 for 29.
Yep.
274 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
I have watched people on Facebook and other social media outlets talk about how Georgia runs the most boring offense. Remember when Alabama ran the most boring offense and all they were doing was winning games and national championships?
Who's the guy that was running that made up all those plays last night? Who's that offensive coordinator?
Are you talking about Georgia's offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
That Todd Monken guy?
And also who's helping Todd Monken?
Oh, I don't actually know the answer to that question.
They were talking about it during your Georgia broadcast.
I just had the game on. I was doing my homework, so I was just.
I was listening to a Georgia radio call, and they were singing the praises of a one Michael Bobo.
God,
is back in your fold.
I can't stand that man. Anyways,
I know, but
different story for a different day. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different receivers caught passes. I feel like Stetson Bennett was sitting back there and playing 7-on-7.
Because he was.
That's how comfortable he looked back there. Shout out to our boy Lad McConkey.
From Tennessee. I know. Thank you.
We all know about Brock Bowers. I feel like Lad McConkey is somehow forgotten in this offense.
Darnell Washington caught a touchdown for you guys.
Absolutely. Darnell Washington.
Darnell, all 8 feet of him, caught a touchdown, okay?
But I think, if I remember correctly, isn't he like 6'7"? Yeah, 6'7", 270. Put him on the offensive line. How are you supposed to stop that man?
You're not. That's the terrible part of it. And here's the kicker for me. I have to see that every year. Thanks.
I don't know how many more years you have to see that. I think he's draft eligible this year.
It's not that. It's that I know that there's another one down the fucking pipe.
Oh, Brock Bowers is only a sophomore, so I'm
sorry. Excuse me for the language, but I get to see that down the pipe. I know there's something else coming down the pipe that's like some mutant tight end.
Are we just cloning these guys out here?
You guys are. You know what? And I'm just mad about it.
This is kind of off topic, and I don't know how much in the transfer portal we'll get to next. We'll get to. We're going back with our guy Jody, and he asked me, "What do I think Georgia needs?" I think Georgia needs a running back, like a bigger size running back.
Okay.
And I think they need probably 2 wide receivers.
Here's why I don't think your guys are going to get that.
Okay.
Your team does what really, 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 really well?
Play defense.
Even different than that.
Oh, run the ball?
No. Kind of. You're getting warmer.
Ball control.
You're getting warmer. You guys dominate, and I do mean this, and I hate saying this. Dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
They're up for what is the award for the best offensive line? The Joe Moore Award? Does that sound right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the other thing is, I would like to see Georgia bring in some experienced players on defense. This defense is really good, but they're really young.
They are, but once again, this is what makes me mad. Your guys dominate your defensive line play is so good that you guys can cover up a lot of those ills where other teams do not have the luxury of that.
Do you want me to give you about this much hope?
All right, let me hear this.
Jalen Carter is not going to be on the defensive line next year.
Okay.
Does that
but you guys are gonna have another 5-star somewhere.
Okay, I didn't know how much better that was gonna make you feel.
Now, unfortunately, I'm realistic.
Right. Well, sometimes.
Well, I mean, hey, you know what? I was getting my hopes up a little bit last night, but then also, I kind of was. It was more in jest because I knew that probably wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Thank you, South Carolina. By the way, Jody, the Undertaker is coming for you. Hit the music. Teddy Hart's come out and he says, Notre Dame, you got to go one-on-one. The Undertaker. You get the Undertaker next in Jacksonville.
We'll go over that later. If you know, you know. But like you said, I would like to see more experience on that defense. I feel like.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't get everything that you want this Christmas.
I'm sorry. I just have a small Christmas list. Okay.
Yeah. Small Christmas list of more talent.
Right. That's all. I didn't say. I said experience talent. Okay.
Sorry, you're gonna get picky.
Right. I'm sorry. I need some things. Okay. So now, do you have another thought on the SEC championship game?
No. That thing was a crime scene.
Okay. All right. The next thing we're going to go do is the AAC championship game.
And boy, did we have our hopes up for the Gus Bus.
Boy, did we were wrong.
Yes. In my defense, it was because I thought Willie Fritz wasn't going to be there.
I was on the same thought. I wasn't sure if Willie Fritz was going to be there. And if he was, how locked in he was going to be. But
Georgia Tech whizzes down their leg in the 10th hour.
Had 145 yards rushing.
That's not good for Gus Malzahn.
Hold on. Tajay Spears for Tulane had 199.
That's not good for Gus Malzahn.
Michael Pratt went 20 for 33 for 394. They played 3 quarterbacks in this game. Man. UCF, what are you doing? Okay.
That's a Gus Malzahn offense, man. Come on now.
If I tell you a team scores 45 points, how many yards of offense do you think they have?
We're talking AAC here, right?
Yes. Which might be our 4th favorite conference behind the SEC.
Yes. Easily, I could say they're probably going for 400 yards.
Tulane had 648 yards of offense.
Good God Almighty.
394 on the air, 11 yards of reception, 254 on the ground, 8.2 yards per rush, and they turned the ball over 3 times.
So that's how they get 600 yards of offense and only 45 points.
Right.
Because you make 3 boo-boos, but you still are able to dominate.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be. I think Willie Fritz is staying at Tulane at least this year.
Yeah. Yes, because Georgia Tech done messed up.
Yeah, again. Georgia Tech went with Brett Key, which is fine. We'll go over that later. I don't know if I necessarily have a problem with that. Although, again, was listening to a podcast. Jeff Collins had 10 wins in Georgia Tech in 3 years. Brett Key had 4 this year.
Okay.
So for context there. Let's see. Anything 200-yard receivers. Just man. 265 passing. Deuce Watts and Shea Wyatt had 234 and 3 touchdowns together.
Look at Deuce Watts' stat line.
For those of y'all that don't know, 3 receptions, 134 yards, 44.7 yards per catch, and a touchdown. I'm just disappointed he only got 1. Look.
Okay, there's been other offenses out there that have ruined the world. Okay. Right. Keith, we will be getting to the AA playoffs here. Okay, we'll be getting there.
We're gonna get. I'm gonna go off script and just go ahead and go to it. Shout out to Montana State for beating. I watched this part of this game. I should know who they beat. Weber State, 33.
They beat Weber State, and it was a heck of a game.
To move on into the next round of the FCS playoffs. So shout out. I also know that everybody that played at home won in the FCS playoffs.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see if that same kind of success translates to the first round games in the 12th round and the 12th seed.
Usually it's gonna get wacky now. This is when it starts getting wacky now. The only one I see that could be an upset is going to be Incarnate World versus Sacramento State. I feel like Montana State's going to trounce William and Mary.
Team or Incarnate Word?
Incarnate Word.
Give me Sac State and Troy Taylor. That's his name.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Montana State's got William and Mary, which is going to be a good game, but it's going to be in Bozeman.
It might be watchable.
It might be watchable, and then Sanford's going to get blood splattered by North Dakota State.
I was going to ask you who they play.
And South Dakota State's going to be Holy Cross is going to be asking for a lot.
Wow. Good luck, South Dakota State. On the next docket, I paid zero attention to this game. The only thing that I know about this, I know two things about this Clemson North Carolina game. One, that Clemson won, and two, the DJ got benched. Shocker.
That's all I know. Yeah, all I know is that Cade Kublik played 20
for 24 better. For 279. He had one touchdown pass. Here's what worries me. One, I feel like Dabo Swinney is too loyal to his players to a fault, which is why they're not in the playoffs. And we have talked about how poor this UNC defense is. Clemson rushed for 68 yards.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it, and who was their best rusher?
That Cade Klubnik guy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Will Shipley had
7 touches.
18 yards.
11 touches total for less than 50 yards. Probably less than 40 yards. Yeah, less than 50 yards.
Yeah.
And Keith, bad. We've already talked about both these games. Keith, what's the bigger surprise? USC losing or TCU losing?
Still think USC by the way they lost, because I knew TCU could get sniped, and they did. However, USC didn't just get beat. They got embarrassed in the second half.
They got embarrassed in the second half. So I agree with you. I think it's USC. I thought TCU losing would be more likely. I trusted Caleb, but when he got hurt, I knew it was pretty much. It
was GG's. Yeah.
Right. Do you have anything to say about the ACC Championship? This is probably the one game I paid zero attention to.
I literally paid zero attention to it because both teams were already out.
Right.
The last time I checked, I was not excited to see UNC be any version of a championship game.
Right.
I thought their defense was, and their entire schedule made them big frauds and phonies. So
I'm going to mention this other game again. Didn't watch it. Troy beat Coastal Carolina, and Fresno State beat Boise State to win the Mountain West. Did you?
So the only reason why I paid attention to the Coastal Carolina was because my boy is gone. He decided to pull chocks.
Chadwell is no longer the coach at Coastal. We'll touch on that later. The next one, Purdue and Michigan. I have some thoughts on this game.
Okay.
I know that the game was close at half, and Aiden O'Connell played really well in the first half.
He played all right.
But he had one incompletion in the first half.
Yes.
But I feel like they left something to be desired.
They left a lot of points.
I feel like they could have played better, as weird as that sounds.
Yes.
Now, Michigan does what Michigan does in the second half, and they outscored them 29-9. So I'm not – but 14-13, I feel like Purdue – I didn't like the way they handled, the last 40 seconds.
Yeah.
With 3 timeouts, you could have at least went down there and attempted to get some points.
I know this is going to sound like a very hot take, but this is why I'm not the biggest J.J. McCarthy fan. I know he had three touchdowns, but he was 11 for 7. It was only 180 yards.
Now, a couple of them hit the receiver's hands, but I saw a lot of overthrows.
I don't trust him in a big game. I really don't. And I
feel like Cade McNamara was the better choice.
He is, but you know what? Cade McNamara is white bread and boring, and that's why he is perfect where he's going. He is the prototypical Iowa quarterback, and he's the Iowa quarterback.
I have one more question, and I think I mentioned this. I know I mentioned it in our group chat. Is it possible for Iowa to find an offensive coordinator in the portal? That's really what I want to know. Is if
nepotism is real.
Jody,
Folks.
I don't know who you're talking about. The true freshman, because Cade McNamara and JJ McCarthy are not true freshmen. But yeah, can Iowa find an offensive coordinator? My worry is whose offense. Michigan gave 456 yards of offense to Purdue.
Well, they're just getting ready for offensive shootouts.
Oh, by the way, James, please remind me again who Michigan drew in the playoffs.
Oh, they drew that Riley coached.
That Garrett Riley guy. I think I've heard
Garrett Riley guy. That they're dealing with Supermax.
Sonny something.
Yeah, this Sonny guy.
Sonny Dykes.
Sonny Dykes. Yeah, I heard he's kind of good. He knows a little thing about offense. I think they got some wide receivers that look like the Predator. Okay. And because I go to the Church of Dreadlocks.
Right.
We look at Heronicles and Can't Stop, Won't Stop. The Lord I Have has dreadlocks.
Right.
And they have some.
Okay.
They have those guys.
I'm just going to read some of these offensive numbers. TCU, 40.3 points per game.
Yeah.
Let's see. 273 per game in the air. 200 on the ground. 473 yards per game. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bad.
I'll give Michigan props. They went in the halftime, and they did what they were supposed to. And I reached out to stunning Sean Stewart, excuse me, and asked him how he felt, and he said he wasn't worried about TCU's offense. So you know what that means, right?
He will be.
Right. TCU is just going to torment. They may not win the game, and I still am back and forth, and we'll have our picks tomorrow. But that just means he is left open for TCU to just absolutely make them look silly.
To quote the great Star Wars when Luke Skywalker goes to Yoda and says, I'm not afraid of Darth Vader. And, Yoda just says, you will be.
Right.
You will be. You've got an entire month to look at that offense of TCU and just remember that you guys haven't played an offense like that.
I would take TCU's offense over Ohio State.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And one thing I brought up, and I don't know if you actually responded to it. If Michigan loses to Georgia again, or even if they lose to TCU or Ohio State, if Michigan loses in the playoffs, we know that Jim Harbaugh flirted with the NFL last year.
Yes.
What is keeping him at Michigan?
Nothing.
That's just kind of my thought. Is if
Nothing.
Michigan loses, what is keeping him there?
And here's where I'm going to get a little saucy. Because, we are part of a certain organization that has ties to a certain area that has NFL fandoms.
Oh, it's okay. Can I beat you to the punch or?
Yeah, yes, you can.
Okay, Jody actually. But we love Jody. Jody has gotten Joe Brady 35 jobs already.
He has. The only person that he has gotten Joe Brady enough jobs is he's gotten another man,
right?
Another job that he willed into existence.
Oh, okay. Even Keith is on it, who's a little more mild about getting coaches' jobs. And I won't go into the NFL side of it, but my thought of it was if he loses again in the playoffs, or even if he wins, what's keeping him at Michigan?
They're not, and you know what? There's gonna if it's not them. I know that there's this guy named Thomas. What's that last name? The Joe Brady. Thomas Brady that probably need a coach down in Tampa.
Yeah,
it's not their coach right now, or that New Orleans team.
Here's the one that I think is interesting, and I think one of our guys pointed out maybe if what is his name? What is the GM in Indianapolis? His name, Chris Ballard.
Oh God!
If Chris Ballard leaves, then maybe Jim Harbaugh would entertain Indianapolis. But he got drafted and played for the Colts. So
he took the Colts. He not only did he do that, he took the Colts to an AFC Championship game.
Right. So I think maybe that's a team to look out for.
The problem is that whole ownership and everything is an absolute train wreck of train wrecks.
Joke.
Jim Irsay is a joke.
Jim Irsay.
Now, if only if there was the other guy in Indianapolis that would be able to buy them to get down with them.
You know what, Pat McAfee?
I am talking about Pat McAfee.
Oh my God, I love Pat McAfee.
I love that Ian's. But yes, no. Harbaugh's going to be flirting with the NFL again. It's going to happen. He's going to leave Michigan. It's just will he leave Michigan?
I don't feel like it's a matter of if. I feel like it's a matter of when.
And is Michigan prepared and ready to be able to be that proactive when it does happen?
Whoa. So where would you like to go next? The transfer portal?
Oh no. We got to talk about this the Final Four of college football.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna do that. And Keith, we kind of touched this. I think James and I both agree that
it should still be Caleb Williams. However, I will say this: the man who had the best year in college football was Hendon Hooker.
And I feel like if he's not hurt, he is probably.
He had the best game under the brightest lights against Alabama. So,
I was looking, and I'll touch on this a little more. We just watched North Texas play for the Conference USA title game, and they fired Seth Luttrell. Anyways,
well, they got a new AD, so that's probably what happened.
So playoffs. Georgia obviously was the 1 seed,
as they should be.
Michigan was the 2 seed,
as they should
have. 3 seed. Surprising that they made it.
Nobody.
I'm not surprised that they made it. I felt like the only way TCU wasn't going to be the 3 seed would be if Michigan was the 1 seed. Because I feel like they respect the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry too much to put it in the playoffs, which will make things interesting when you move to a 12-team playoff. And then Ohio State was 4. I don't understand people that thought Bama had a chance.
Okay.
If TCU and USC both had 1 loss going into Conference Championship Weekend, I could understand your case for Alabama. But even if TCU lost, they only had 1 loss.
Exactly.
James, the floor is yours.
So, let me get something off my chest.
Oh God!
If I can,
I'm gonna step away. Do you need the floor to yourself?
No.
Okay.
I want you to sit here and watch this. Listen to this too. Let me clear my throat about. Anyway, okay. So, what was their biggest argument for being in the college football playoff?
That their 2 losses were LSU and Tennessee.
Okay, so we're talking about moral victories, right?
I didn't think we were built on moral victories.
We don't. Do they count moral victories in college football?
Didn't Tennessee? Don't you know from being a Tennessee fan that moral victories gets you nothing?
They get you absolutely nothing. Okay, and let me also say this about this for Bama fans. Tennessee beat them by 24 points.
Are you talking about LSU?
Yes.
Okay.
24 in their home. You guys couldn't beat them. So, as I'm saying this, Alabama, you guys had a bad year. You guys lost not 1, but 2 games.
First of all, what I'm going to say about that is, I understand, and we're not making, Jody, we are not making a point about Tennessee, so chill out on that.
We ain't talking about Tennessee here.
What I'm going to say about Bama, can we respect the standards at Alabama to where 2 losses is a bad season? That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Continue.
Okay, sorry. And once again, we're gonna put this. No excuses for Alabama. No excuses. That's their motto, right? Anyway,
how are you going to argue me Alabama when their best win is 8-4, 2 8-4 teams, and if you
a 6-6 Arkansas.
And if you give me a second, your best wins are, let's see, Mississippi State at 22, Texas at 20.
And
Are your two best
unranked Mississippi. And 6-6 Arkansas. Everything else is an absolute trash heap on trash heaps. Better strength of schedule. Who did they beat that in their strength of schedule? Answer me this.
James, let me ask you
Who did they beat?
Let me ask you this. If that logo says Tennessee or Oklahoma, Texas or Oklahoma instead of TCU, is this argument being made?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want to know.
Okay.
If that logo says Texas or Oklahoma, nobody is complaining that they lost to what were they, 10th, and now they're 9th?
Yes.
Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game in overtime by a field goal?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
And then also, shame on Nick Saban for trying to count. I thought you had higher moral fiber than that. I mean, I knew you didn't have higher moral fiber than that. I knew that you were full of the brown stuff. But you know what? I'm glad that you shed those crocodile tears in front of everybody in this world just to show how sad and lonely you are if you're not winning a game. They are the ones that they were supposed to ones that hold themselves up to this high standard. They're the ones who put themselves up in this pedestal. They're the ones who act like they are God's gift to college football. And if we're not acknowledging them at every single solitary second, that they're the ones that need to be there. They're the ones that need to be recognized. They're the little child over there saying, pay attention to me. And you know what? We're not this year. Go to New Orleans, go get your teeth kicked in by Kansas State, and have a good day, sir.
By the way, that's probably going to be one of the games I pay the most attention to. I don't think
Alabama. Who cares right now? Who did they beat?
Did you win 6? My argument is did you win 6 national championships this season? If the rankings are based, actually it's 7. So let's make sure we get our number right.
I'm sorry. You guys still lost your 2 national championship games to Tennessee and LSU.
So here's my argument. So we acknowledge if the logo says Texas or Oklahoma that the 1-loss team is in. Yes. If TCU has 2 losses. Are they being considered for the
Absolutely
playoff?
Not.
Absolutely not. That's all I need to know. So I don't think that they're held to a different standard because if that logo is not Alabama, if that's a G5, did USC ever get considered for the?
No, they didn't. I mean, and then also they had the audacity to be ranked ahead of a team that once again, I reiterate, beat them on the field.
Please don't give me a start on that. When the chairman came out and said, "Well, the reason we had them behind was because Hendon Hooker is out."
That's it.
No, please don't get me started on that.
That's the only reason why is because Joe Milton III is the quarterback of Tennessee right now.
I mean, let's look.
That they would be in Orange Bowl, and you know what?
Hey, James, who won, Oregon State or Oregon?
Oregon State did.
Same record. Oregon State's ranked above them.
Yes. Every other place that has that, they're ranked above them, except for Alabama, because Alabama needs to be pampered. And I don't care if they lost to South Carolina. And you know what? South Carolina turned around and beat Clemson the next day. And guess what? They're going to do to Notre Dame in a couple of weeks. They're going to do the same thing, playa. You got to go one-on-one with the Undertaker in Jacksonville.
James, we got some lines out right now. If I had to make you bet, Michigan's a 9.5-point favorite. Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. Which line are you going with?
What was that again? I'm sorry. My wife was saying calm down.
And Keith is right. This season's been wild trying to figure out 1 to 4. I think the biggest issue people have is TCU didn't fall. I think that's the biggest thing people are trying to understand. Michigan's a 9.5-point favorite, and Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. If you had to bet the line, which one of those lines are you betting?
Oh, I'm betting Georgia all day, every day.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I was just curious what you thought.
Seeing Ohio State try to play defense.
Defense?
Georgia's going to blood splatter them. Because wait, I forget. Where's Georgia playing that game at? Where's that game being played at?
Let's see. Carry the one. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Atlanta.
And how far is that from Athens?
750,000 miles.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's about 5 feet.
Okay, sorry. Like an hour and a half.
By Atlanta traffic standards.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So Ohio State, after getting
Okay, hold on, because I really feel the need to do this. If your issue is Ohio State got in and didn't play, why does Bama get in?
Yeah.
Why does Bama get in if they didn't play? If your standard is Bama didn't win or Ohio State didn't win and they didn't play this weekend, well, then your choices are Utah, Clemson, UTSA, Tulane. Anyway.
Or Tennessee.
No. We're going by they didn't play this weekend.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or Kansas State. Put Kansas State in.
Yeah. Anybody but Bama.
If you look, I sent this out earlier. Let me see if I can pull it
sorry.
up.
Sorry. Excuse me. I can break this down even to more scientific things. They didn't beat nobody, pal.
Not Powell. No, don't pull Powell into this. Powell didn't.
I will. He put dirt on that freaking Bama thing this year. Okay.
What was I doing? Hold on.
But anyway, sorry. That's my rant. Rant over. I'm glad. Go smoke that L-Pack, freaking Bama fans, you 85%. Smoke that L-Pack, you bozos. Freaking, you guys are on pack watch down in New Orleans. Go enjoy your beignets.
I was looking earlier, and we talked about. I posted the 12-team playoff in like the final rankings.
Yeah, I only had one issue with it is that I do not agree with conference champions getting a bye.
I kind of agree. But
because Clemson, because they're giving Clemson a bye, and there's no way on God's green earth you should give Clemson a bye.
Because there's Clemson and Utah were the other two teams that would have got a bye.
Yeah. Still, no. I'm sorry. You better play there. I'm okay with giving TCU a bye. I'm okay with giving Ohio State a bye.
I understand, but I feel like you have to make the conference championship mean something.
Yeah, it does. It does. It means you get an automatic playoff spot.
I am not going to disagree with you. Okay.
That's the carrot.
I'm not doing Bama anymore. Do we have any more thoughts on the playoffs?
No, I think they got it right. And I'm actually excited for the New York 6 games. And it's not just because, we get to go deal with the burger flipper ourselves.
All right. So I am going to start with the jobs that are still open.
Okay.
So right now, Stanford's still open. Leading candidate, offensive coordinator for the Ravens, Greg
Roman.
Whatever. Tulsa head coach is opening. I saw former Arkansas defensive coordinator, former Missouri head coach Barry Odom interviewed for that job.
Okay.
Cincinnati's still open. I feel like that's more going to be of an internal hire because the transfer portal opens. When is that, James?
That opens in Wednesday?
Actually, that opens in about 2.5 hours.
Oh, fantastic! Because yes, and that's the reason why Tennessee will not be having their offensive coordinator.
Bingo. Western Michigan is still open, and I haven't really heard anything about that. Have you?
No.
And we talked about this. No. I do feel different. I feel a little differently if TCU gets blown out. I do feel a little differently about that. But you lost to a top 10 team by 3 points. So my answer is yes. If they get blown out, I think you have to drop them to 4. But I still think you have to drop them to 4.
Yeah, I still think that they got it right. The rankings itself are subjective and silly, and they're doing it for matchups anyway. So I don't really think that you could put TCU, Ohio State 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. They just wanted to make sure that the matchup wasn't Ohio State, Michigan.
UNLV is still open. I don't actually know if I know anything about this job.
And now congratulations, UNLV. You get the crown of does your program care about football?
We still have Stanford.
Stanford, I think, honestly, I'm still going to be going down the path of they need to bring in IBM Watson to be their head coach.
Absolutely.
But the big one right now is in Coastal Carolina is now open because of Jamie Chadwell.
No, it's
Oh
not.
no, they already hired. Oh yeah, they did. Yes, they did.
I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
The other open job is North Texas, who I told you I just saw that they fired.
That just happened, man.
After making the conference championship game. I really don't want to go into that, so we're going to leave that alone. Probably the worst kept secret. I don't know if we touched on this last week. Hugh Freeze got hired at Liberty.
Hugh Freeze got hired at Auburn.
Hugh Freeze got hired at Auburn from Liberty.
So let me get this straight here for Auburn fans. Okay, you tried to fire a guy for impropriety and lack of moral fiber.
Are you going to go down this road?
Oh, we were going to go down this road.
Okay, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't know we were doing this.
We are well. I mean, you brought it up, so we doing this.
I didn't mention the name.
You tried to fire Brian Harsin for an affair with a GA, correct?
Something to that
to that effect, right? You're bringing in a guy who got fired for burner phones with infamous Mississippi Call Girls, correct?
Wait, hold on, time out. Can we also mention that he did that on a school-issued phone? Yes.
Not even burner phone.
That was on a school-issued phone, a Mississippi school-issued. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. Was known for calling call girls, and now, and don't spare me the fact that he also is known for doing ridiculous ploys to try to get recruits, aka bust out that Jimmy drum, baby.
But what he did is legal now.
That is legal. However, the sliding into the DMs of co-eds to try to pressure them to not press charges is still highly illegal.
And that happened, I feel like, right as the news came out. So we don't know the exact time of when that. I don't think I know the exact time of when that happened.
When your new school contract is you have to relinquish control of your social media account.
Now he has come out and disputed that. Now I don't know, nor do I care.
Look, when we're coming out with this thing, so like everyone kind of saw that there was an issue with Kyler Murray's commitment to football when they had to put it in the Call of Duty.
I almost brought that up, but I'm glad that you did.
Oh yeah, I will. Don't get me wrong. Auburn sold their soul for winning football games, and I respect it and understand it.
But isn't that football in the SEC?
That is football in the SEC.
Okay.
However, do not come at us with a trying to be more holier than thou.
I was listening to our good friend Josh Pate.
Okay.
One, he kind of echoed the same sentiment. You know, let the sinless cast the first time.
Yes.
But also, when he was talking about Hugh Freeze, he goes, "Well, this is just the stuff that you know. Imagine what's going on at your favorite school with their coach that you don't know."
Oh yeah.
It could be worse. You just don't know it.
I mean, that's the worst thing about Art Browse is that the bad stuff got outed. The stuff with Joe Paterno, the bad stuff got outed, and that's what. Okay, and everybody who doesn't understand this about Greg Schiano Sunday with Tennessee fans. It was because of the Penn State stuff. Yes, it was because of the Penn State stuff. And yes, it was because of the Penn State stuff.
Say it one more time for people in the back.
The Penn State Jerry Sandusky stuff, Greg Schiano saw it, and no, allegedly or not, that's in a sworn affidavit. And we're going to take that to the grave with us.
So are you off your Hugh Liberty soapbox?
You know what? And I'm also happy for Jamie Chadwell to be getting closer.
Stop that. You're ruining my news. Thank you.
You knew I can't talk about my boy like that. Come on.
Got promoted. He took off the interim tag. I touched on it earlier. Jeff Collins had 10 wins in 3 years at Tech. Brett Key had 4 in 7 games.
Yes.
At Tech. 4-year starter at fullback. He's going to be like the Clark Lay of the ACC.
Wow. Way to throw dirt on him already.
No, that's Clark Lay spent time as a fullback at Vanderbilt, and he's at his alma mater, and I'm talking about it. He knows what the program is about.
I understand that, but I just
and probably maybe the second most surprising hire, UAB hired Trent Dilfer. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not fond of hiring high school coaches straight into being head coaches at the college level.
And not just that, he has maybe 2 or 3 years of experience at the high school level.
The one thing I think they banked on is like he's done Elite 11, he's things like that. But I agree with you. I'm not sure what to expect with this hire.
He has coached organized football at the head coach level for less than 5 years.
Do you want to take this? Do you want me to take it? Do you want to leave it alone? Because last I checked, Elite 11 and 11
It was a quarterback development camp.
It's like 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. It's not the same.
It's not.
And I just want to leave it at that. I want to go to the next.
And I would go back to the Lipscomb year that they had at his private school where you can recruit the best athletes to Middle Tennessee.
Right.
And they did not do well. So I don't know how you can turn that and say, hey, this guy was mediocre as a high school football coach at a private school. He's going to do great at UAB.
Right. The next thing that I want to talk about might be the most surprising hire. Originally, the name floating around was Manny Diaz to Florida Atlantic. And they took a whole ass left turn and hired Tom Herman. What are your thoughts on Tom Herman to FAU?
If he's been able to calm the ego, that was what plagued him at Texas. From what I've heard, his ego was so bad. That's what took him away from a lot of the high profile recruits in Texas. If he's able to get that in check, he could Lane Kiffin himself into another big time job.
I'm going to let you take this one. USF hired your boy Alex
Golish, sir.
Whatever. Offensive coordinator at Tennessee. I'm going to let you kind of take this wherever you want to take it. The name that came out before Manny Diaz was also mentioned for this job, but the other name that came out that I saw was Tom Allen.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both think he would have killed it down there.
He would have.
So take you a couple of minutes to brag on your boy with what he's done, because he spent time at UCF with.
Mm-hmm. He's been Heupel's right-hand man for almost a decade now.
Okay.
So him and Heupel, even though Heupel was kind of like the offensive coordinator and calling the plays and everything,
right.
Alex is the guy up in the booth, has been there, kind of been his eyes and ears for, second eyes and ears while he's been down the field.
Right.
So I think Alex Wills is a wonderful coach, and I feel like he's going to bring the same offense that is at Tennessee to USF, which isn't going to be a terrible thing because they have that thing called athletes.
Right.
Now, will his recruiting and everything, he was getting better as a recruiter, especially at Tennessee when you actually have a name you can actually recruit.
Absolutely.
That helps a lot more with it. I don't know how he's going to be now as he's the head guy. This is the biggest thing with it is I'm going to wait and see, but I feel like he's a good guy, and that I feel like giving him time and the resources and a good coaching staff, he's going to do just fine. Now, Tennessee, everyone's going to who they're going to be for offensive coordinator. They're going to promote from within. It's still going to be Josh Heupel.
What kind of known to do is trust his staff like that.
Yes, he does.
First of all, we're going to talk about this hire, and this will probably be the one we spend the longest on. Jody,
bring the boy. Yep. Let the boy do it.
Let's say a broken clock is right twice a day.
He willed this thing into existence.
Probably had I wouldn't be surprised if he had a hand in this hire, but B, he kept the craziest faith that I have ever. Like, this is, you're here, but you're hiring here. Deion Sanders got hired at Colorado, and Jody willed this thing into existence. So props up, Jody, because you had probably the craziest faith that this was going to happen in Colorado. I have a graphic pulled up right here. Okay. Obviously, we know Colorado finished 1-11 in 2022. Worst record in school history. Finished below 500 in 15 of the last 17 seasons.
Ugh.
2 bowl games since 2008.
Oh.
19 losses since 2021, which is the second most losses in Power 5. Before we talk about Deion Sanders, we talk about that team. Does Prime to Colorado put pressure on the Broncos? I think Hackett's out the door. That's all I want to say.
I feel like the Broncos have other issues, not just at head coaching.
I agree with you. It's not just Hackett, but that's the start. You're gonna get rid of him before you get rid of the guy who's paid $250 million to.
And gave up 3 draft picks for him.
Anyway.
So
Prime to Colorado. He brought his son with him. He's
Obviously.
already flipped a 5-star in 2025. We talked about we had some people tell us, and Jody, we're going to call you out because we just praised you. So now we got to humble you a little bit. He talked about how Prime is going to have a Lincoln Riley type effect at USC. First of all, USC has a name. I know Colorado has history. You're not going to go get 17. You might go get 7, but you have to get 17 exactly right.
You not only need to get 17 exactly right, you're going to need to get about 40. Because right now your 85-man roster is in shambles.
Can we talk about how low this program is right now?
Your starting quarterback right now,
my expectations
JT
for Colorado
Stroud
next year are a bowl game.
It's
4 to 7
Kansas.
wins. We talked about his son is coming with him, and the only concern that I have is Jackson State refused to play above their competition level. And I know that Shedeur Sanders had all these offers out of college or out of high school. We haven't seen him play to this level. So my only thought is be wary. We don't know what he's going to do at this level. There is potential for him to.
Yes.
And then what? Now, I know Clive has reached out to people in the transfer portal. Don't.
Your starting quarterback right now, outside of Shedeur Sanders,
in Colorado. So I'm going to be interested to see what Colorado does these next week or so.
Your backup quarterback right now is JT Stroud.
I am very intrigued.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to say I'm going to give Jody some praise. You know what? I'm going to give Colorado some praise. They got serious about football at least.
But
they give a dang about football right now.
Here is my whole thought. If you can go get Deion Sanders right now, why did it take you 12, 17, 50, 11 years to get serious about football?
I don't know. I mean, the good thing about Colorado, and I know for a fact Prime knows this. The best thing about Colorado's high school football thing is they can develop the guys in the trenches, which is great because you're going to need them.
Right.
You're going to need. I mean, he's going to have an edge, and I don't see anything out of that offense that's going to be super duper, innovative or anything like that. So it's going to have to turn into a trench warfare. Now, I am also, I feel like the best thing that could ever happen is this dissolution of the Pac-12 for Colorado.
Now, my other thought was, and I've seen this earlier today, and I've always said Colorado needs to be in the Big 12. But with Deion Sanders, do you now have the star power to go back to the Big 12?
You not only do you have that, you also can now reinvigorate the pipeline to Texas because what Deion Sanders did play for the Cowboys.
He coached high school in Texas.
And then he also obviously has pipeline connections in Florida as well.
Right.
So this is going to be the biggest thing. This is going to take him time. He needs to get talent. He needs to restock an 85-man roster.
That cabinet is like you just moved in
Bear. I feel like there's when you open it up, the comedical, cockroaches and rats scattering.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's bad.
So the other thought that I have, is he there in 5 years?
If he's able to get this team winning, no.
I don't necessarily disagree with you.
I feel like, but you know what? I'm going to give Colorado credit here.
And this is taking nothing away from. I'm the same way. We'll clap it up for Colorado for going out and making this hire, but I don't know that he stays here for a long time.
Oh no! If he starts winning, there's going to be schools down in Florida that are going to be calling his name.
In Texas,
and it just
A&M might be open soon.
Again, well, yeah, congratulations. 90, millions of dollars down the drain. But anyway.
Millions of dollars. I'm sorry, go ahead. Continue.
But, I mean, I will give Colorado credit. They actually decided to drop their marbles and put it on the table and actually go get the guy and get the biggest name that they could get this coaching cycle. So
their names, I'm kind of scrolling through the transfer portal. There are two names that I think he might want to look at. Trey Sanders is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The running back out of Alabama that's transferring out. What's the guy? Smoke. What's his first name?
Cavassier Smoke.
Yes, out of
The
Kentucky.
greatest name in college football.
I'm just kind of looking through some of the talent in the portal. The thing is, they need everything.
They do.
So, and I would even maybe go reach for a quarterback. Not that I don't trust it, but you still need depth.
And you know what? I could honestly see DJ and Leongile going there.
Apparently, and I haven't found confirmation that he has hit the portal.
Oh, yes, he did. He officially came out
Yeah.
today on Twitter.
Okay.
It's official.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for now. Clemson, yeah, Wilson. I feel like it's going to be tough to take a chance on him because I don't know how much better he's going to get.
I understand that. However, he's going to be an upgrade there. It doesn't matter how you slice it. He'd be an upgrade in that quarterback room.
So that's probably the school I'm gonna watch the most is Colorado, and I have watched them be terrible for years. I always love the love Lance Leipold is getting right now at Kansas. Not that Deion Sanders is not already beloved, but he is going to be elevated if he can bring this Colorado program back.
If he can turn Colorado into just Kansas next year. If he wins 6 wins, I would honestly put him in the coach of the year category.
James, we didn't plan on this, and a lot of what we do is not playing. Spoiler alert for anybody that's curious.
Yes. The production meeting was non-existent.
I lied. I do a lot of planning for this show.
You do, which makes me sound much smarter than I am.
You're welcome. Okay. TCU. I don't want to know if they win because I'm not sure if they will. Can Colorado make the game competitive?
Can what? Okay, wait. Sorry.
Can Colorado make the game competitive
against TCU?
Yes. I'm reading their 2023 schedule. This is in Fort Worth.
Oh no, they're getting blood splattered.
Nebraska,
and that's not being mean. I feel like TCU is going to be good for a long time.
And speaking of TCU, Zach Evans transferred out last year, which was a top 10 running back, I think, coming out of high school.
Yeah.
They played Nebraska in Boulder.
That is a winnable game because
I trust Matt Rule. For me,
I trust Matt Rule, but you need to give Matt Rule time.
Colorado State, I think we both think they could beat Colorado State.
Yep. There's one.
Arizona State in Tempe. I love Kenny Dillingham, but I feel like Prime is going to have
TCU will not have a new. Sonny Dykes is still going to be
Sonny Dykes is staying.
Yeah. He just got there.
Arizona State, I feel like
that's a win for them.
I feel like Prime will have more players.
I'm not that big on Arizona State. That thing's a mess, and he's going to have some time to clean
Arizona. I feel like they could beat Arizona.
Yep.
Oregon State in Boulder.
Oof.
If you're the president of the Jamie Chadwell fan club, I am the president of the Jonathan Smith fan club.
You are.
You know how high I am on Jonathan Smith, and I love the Oregon State program.
I think Oregon State's going to win that game.
Max Duggan's a sophomore, so he'll still be there next year.
Yep.
I know what kind of offense Oregon State can run. We watched them throw the ball 11 times against Oregon. Does that sound right?
Yep.
I would lean towards Oregon State in that game.
I would agree with you.
Stanford. I thought they could be Stanford.
I believe they could beat Stanford.
So through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we giving Nebraska? Are we thinking Nebraska win or lose?
I'm gonna give that a toss up. So we'll just be safe and say lose.
So you're looking at 4-3 or 5-2 through your first 7 games.
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting. Okay. You play your last home game against USC.
Oof.
I still don't trust that defense. I think that game is winnable depending on who he can bring in. I'm going to say
a little bit too far.
Okay, so 4-4.
Okay,
4-4. Then they end at Oregon. I think Bogus is coming back. At UCLA, they're going to have a new quarterback.
Still going to be Chip Kelly. I feel like they're catching an L there.
At Utah.
Oh, they're catching an L.
At Washington State.
that could be a big game. And if they go 5-7, I still don't hate it.
Your bowl eligibility right there.
It could be.
That
depending on how that Nebraska game goes.
And I don't see 8 wins here for anybody Jody that says 8.
Jody, come on.
Although I did give him credit for not saying Colorado was going to go 12-0.
I'm going to be dead serious here. I mean, I see automatic L's in a couple spots, and I go there.
To end the whole month of November on the road, I feel like it's going to be really hard.
You're going from Colorado to Oregon. That's a 2 to 3 hour flight.
Oregon to Utah, Oregon to UCLA.
Then Oregon. Then you fly back to Boulder just to fly to LA.
Right. Back to Boulder.
Back to Boulder to fly to Salt Lake City.
Which we know how hard it is to win in Salt Lake City.
It is not easy.
Back to Boulder. And then
Salt Lake City in November, by the way, which is going to be not nice weather, to fly to Pullman, Utah. Or to Pullman, Washington.
Jody, I understand he's bringing top guys from Jackson State.
That's Jackson State.
They have not played at this level.
Swag. That's swag.
That is my only. I have not said he can't do it. My only concern was they have not played at this level. We talked about Jamie Chadwell leaving Coastal. Do you want to talk about your boy going to Liberty, getting a 7-year deal?
I feel like it's not just about the money. I believe that he's positioning himself for a Power 5 job. That Power 5 job is what?
I was laughing at what you said.
But what? He's positioning himself?
No, in our group chat.
Oh. Because I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Spoiler alert. Harbaugh just said the magic words that he gone. All right.
Right.
He said what he didn't need to say.
He said he's not going to go be the coach at Alabama.
He did not. Yeah, he pretty much said.
But anyway, on your championship fact.
Sorry, my ADD kicked in. So it's not just that he's positioning himself for a Power 5 job. It is also closer to home for him. Like I have to reiterate this every single time. He is from East Tennessee. He went to East Tennessee State University. Pals hits different. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. It hits different up there in Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia.
My thought about this is,
but it is a lateral move.
Do we agree it's semi-lateral?
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree on that? My only thought is, now I know that Liberty is moving to Conference USA, and I still think that's a lateral move.
Yes.
Does he see what Hugh Freeze did up there and think he can make a similar type move?
Yes.
Jody, I've already mentioned that he's flipping commits.
He has a barren basement. He has a rotted freaking foundation of a program. He has to rebuild.
2023 is not 2025. Anyways, and then this hire right here to me takes Hudson Card out of going to NC State. I heard somebody talk about Tim Beck was the offensive coordinator at Texas when he committed to Texas. He was the offensive coordinator at NC State. He took over. He got hired today
at Coastal Carolina. Yeah, Hudson Card's enjoying Conway, South Carolina.
No, from what Hudson Card said, he's looking for an MBA. He's looking to stay in the Power 5 and maybe develop him to the NFL.
Okay.
There is one last thing that I want to talk about because it would be disrespectful if we didn't. James, there is one game on the college football docket next Saturday.
That traditional game, eh?
Army, Navy next week.
For absolutely no trophy whatsoever.
No, because the Air Force already has.
Because the Air Force already won it.
Army is a 1-point favorite.
Wow. This might go down as one of the worst Army Navy games, which probably means it's going to be the most entertaining.
That means it's going to be like 13-12.
The only thing that's going to make this game any better, because they both run the triple option, is I need about 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Absolutely.
When that goes down.
I need 3 inches of snow and 25-mile-an-hour winds.
I don't know though, because those poor guys are going to be out there in service dress. I don't wish that on them. That really does suck. Having just been through a blues inspection in December, it's not.
That's
fun.
right. You did just go through that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Well, we're glad you made it back safely.
I did. Yeah, I'm glad I did too. Sorry, that's just a great line for me. But this is a traditional game. All right, this game is not about the records. It's not about the best football.
By the way, the records are terrible.
Navy they're both
7.
awful.
Navy is 4-7, and Army is 5-6.
Okay. Honestly, this might be the last season for
Jeff Duncan or Ken not to the no.
Yeah. I'm talking about Ken not needing to be a head coach in a service academy.
But then who do you go get? Because nobody runs triple option anymore. Are we ever going to break away from service academies running triple option?
It just fits them better. It really
I
does.
understand the why, but that doesn't answer my question. The
why is because you can't get a 300-pound lineman at a service academy. They have to do this thing called running.
They don't allow
that. They don't allow that for obvious reasons. Their job is not to be in professional football leagues here, people. This is for these people that they're going to be telling me I have to salute them in a couple of years, okay?
Are you surprised that Neil Brown was retained at West Virginia, even though they just hired a new AD?
I am shocked by that. However,
so here's
also the good thing is that it puts them on borrowed time, and you know what? If the guy doesn't like him, they can
disengage
on the right foot.
If you look at the difference between the way Auburn hired theirs and West Virginia worked theirs, Auburn fired Brian Harsin before they announced what is his name? John Cohen as their new AD. And West Virginia allowed the new AD to decide what was going on with Neil Brown. Have you looked at any of the bowl games?
I have. Of course I have. I've been doing one-on-one with the Undertaker jokes.
Two things. One, make sure y'all check in tomorrow for our bowl pick'ems.
Yeah.
Give me one game that excites you the most. And it can't be Tennessee Clemson.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it's the Tax Layer Bowl, baby.
Yeah? Go ahead, James. Tell us why. I know where you're going with this.
Because Jody's Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Oh, by the way, I think Tyler Buckner is starting in that game.
Okay. It don't matter. It doesn't matter who's starting with that player because they get to go one-on-one with the South Carolina game with the Undertaker, known as the two-time eliminators of CFP chances. Not only did they eliminate Tennessee's, they eliminated Clemson's. You get to play the Gamecocks.
I would like to, try to get a notion of renaming the Orange Bowl to the Loss to the Gamecocks Bowl. Just curious. Jody, I don't quite understand what you're talking about here. You told us that Drew Pine transferred.
Yes.
I don't know why this is news to you, but anyways,
you know about this.
These are some great matchups. First of all, let's just can we give them credit for giving us just great matchups?
It is top to bottom really fun.
I told y'all when I posted this to take the up.
The over?
Tyler Buckner might start because Drew Pine is transferring. Yes, I told y'all to take the over in the Holiday Bowl. Well, Caleb, why are we taking the over in the Holiday Bowl? Well, thanks for asking, James. Oregon is playing North Carolina. North Carolina plays zero defense and a ton of offense.
Yes, they do.
And Bo Nix and that Oregon offense scores
is hungry and they want to eat.
So this will probably be my favorite game of the bowl season that doesn't include Georgia. I will say the other game that piqued my interest was Texas and Washington.
Here's mine, actually, and I think it's going to be a really fun game because
if you say Iowa, Kentucky because they played each other last year, I'm going to stab you.
It is not actually. I just saw this. It's going to be the Armed Forces Bowl.
Baylor and Air Force?
And Baylor and Air Force. I feel like that's going to be a really fun game to watch.
Is that going to be like 15-13?
It's going to go in an hour and 15-minute game.
Yeah, because You're not even going to be able to go to the bathroom before this game is over.
No.
You're going to get a bathroom break before the game starts, and you're not going to go again because it's going to be over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, James, thanks for wasting an hour and a half of my life. I appreciate you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. However, wait. Before we go though, we got to talk about the undercard ones because there are some really fun matchups.
I said pick one.
No, I want to pick a smaller one because I like the smaller ones.
Well, if you're going to pick a smaller one, I'm going to pick the Cure Bowl between UTSA and Troy.
That's a damn good one.
And
However, I am looking at this Myrtle Beach Bowl and it just pops out to me.
Is that UConn and Marshall?
That is UConn and Marshall.
So hold on. If Notre Dame is going to show Tennessee how to beat South Carolina, does UConn get to show Notre Dame how to beat Marshall?
Exactly.
Okay. I was waiting for that to come up on our chat today.
I just enjoy the whole. I mean, it's just as soon as I
the
saw
irony behind this whole thing.
It's you know it's busting each other's huevos over certain things. Like
this is what we get off to. If you wonder what our group chat is like here, just watch the last 30 minutes of this.
Yes, because I mean, I immediately when I saw the freaking that Tax Layer Bowl, immediately all I could think of was Undertaker gong, and that congratulations, Notre Dame gets to feel my pain. You guys got
James.
All I hear is 63 points. Well, congratulations, playa.
James, what are you doing on December 19th? Because these games tickets are $30 a piece.
Okay.
Would you like to go to the Myrtle Beach Bowl?
I don't want to drive 6 hours to Myrtle Beach.
Is that really how far it is for you?
Yes. There's no direct route. I have to go to Columbia. I have to go to Columbia and then take a left turn to Albuquerque to get to freaking Myrtle Beach.
Well, I hate that for you. I looked at tickets for the Sugar Bowl or for the Peach Bowl today. They were sold
out. Did you already see that Tennessee is starting to invade Clemson's tickets already?
Not surprised.
And and you're shocked by this.
And you know what? We talked about this early. It wasn't Marshall that ruins your football life. It was 3-9 Stanford. I don't know.
It was you pumping your chest over 3-9 Cal.
Well, that was the start of it. And then when you were Drew Pine, and then they lost Stanford. Well, guys, thanks for joining us this week. We will be back tomorrow with our bowl pick'ems.
Yes, congratulations, and come back for another 3 hours of insanity.
We're going to have some friends here tomorrow. This madness can get just ugly very quickly. I just want you to know that.
Oh, it's devolving.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see y'all tomorrow.